Packet 5 in Algebra is very similar to Packet 4, but this time instead of creating equations, we're going to be creating inequalities. And in Packet 2, we learned what an inequality was. Remember that inequalities are these four symbols right here. This first symbol is your less than symbol. This second symbol is greater than or more than. Then we have our less than or equal to. Or our greater than or equal to. And from word problems, instead of using the equal sign, you can create linear inequalities using these four symbols based on keywords given to you in a word problem. Remember that in the last video we talked about standard form equations and slope-intercept form, where your slope is your m and your y-intercept is your b. Remember that your slope keywords are each, every, and per. Your y-intercept keywords are going to be your starting value, your starting point, your constant, or your initial value. For standard form, you have two different rates. Your A is your rate number 1, or your first slope. B is your second rate, or your second slope. And then C is going to be your constant, or your starting point, or whatever the word problem tells you that the equation is equal to. We don't talk about point-slope form a lot until the end of the year, so we're going to ignore this part right now, but we will come back to it to review before the EOC, because sometimes they do throw a couple questions on point-slope form. Alright, so let's jump right into this. So part 2 is creating inequalities in slope-intercept form. So I know that we just reviewed slope-intercept form at the top of your page, but let's go through it one more time because it is one of the most important things we do all year. So your y variable is going to be your dependent variable. And we talked a lot about independent and dependent variables when we were analyzing graphs last week, but it's important to be able to recognize that your y and your x are always going to be in your equation until they tell you to plug something different in. Your m is your slope, and remember you're looking for your three keywords: each, every, and per. Your x is your independent variable. And in most instances, the independent variable is time. Almost always, the independent variable is time, but sometimes there are other variables that can be used as independent variables. And lastly, your b value is your y-intercept, or where the line is going to cross the y-axis. And your keywords for y-intercept are going to be your starting value, or your constant, or your initial. So those are keywords for your y-intercept. So let's go through some examples so that you can get the hang of writing linear inequalities in slope-intercept form. So example number 1 says the population of Bay Village is 35,000 today. Every year, the population of Bay Village increases by at least 750 people. Write an inequality to model this situation. So there's a couple key pieces of information. We have the population is 35,000 today, so that's going to be my initial value. So I know that that's going to be my b, or my y-intercept. Every keyword there for slope. Year, the population of Bay Villages increases by at least 750 people. So at least tells me that it has to be greater than or equal to, because it could be 750 people or more. So we need to write an inequality, and we know that 750 is going to be my slope. At least we are going to use the greater than or equal to. So slope-intercept form, we only have one rate, so I know I'm using y equals mx plus b. So I have y. This keyword at least tells me I need to use the greater than or equal to symbol. M, 750. x plus 35,000. So remember that your m value is your rate, and they say that this village is increasing by at least 750 people every year, so that was my keyword for slope. And this 35,000 is going to be my b value, or my y-intercept, and that was my starting value. Alright, let's go through another one. So example number 2 says, in order to join an online learning community, there is a minimum $20 startup fee and a $5 monthly fee. Write a model in slope-intercept form that models this situation. So there is a minimum $20 startup fee. So that startup fee could be, again, it's at least. So it could be $20, $21, $22, $23. We don't know, but we know that it's at least $20. So we know I'm going to be using the greater than or equal to sign again, because this online community costs at least $20. A $5 monthly fee, that's going to be my rate. That's what's going to change every month. So that's going to be my M. And the $20 is going to be my B. That's a one-time fee. Whenever you have a one-time fee, I'm going to add that up here. A one-time fee is going to be your y-intercept. Okay, so we have y is greater than or equal to 5x plus 20. So this 5 is going to be $5 per month, where x represents months, and this $20 is a $20 one-time fee. So it's always nice to interpret what each of the numbers and each of the variables means as you write an equation, because the next step is to be plugging in numbers for x and for y to solve for the other variable. And if you don't know what those variables mean, it's going to be hard to plug in your numbers. Alright, let's flip to the back side and talk about creating inequalities in standard form. So example number 1 for standard form, but before we do that, let's write down standard form. AX plus by equals c. That's standard form. So instead of having an equal sign, we're going to use our less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to symbol. Alright, so Pablo, a purchasing agent for a high-tech firm, is ordering computers for a new branch office. Laptops cost $940 a piece, and desktop computers cost $750 a piece. The budget for the computers is no more than $15,000. So this time we have to use the less than or equal to, because they cannot spend more than $15,000. So they have to spend less than or exactly $15,000. They give you two different rates. They say laptops cost $940 and desktops cost $750. So I'm going to say that for this, x equals laptops and y equals desktop computers. Again, by annotating what your variables mean, it's going to help you create your equation, and it's going to help you solve equations when given more information. So for standard form, I start with my rate. My first rate is $940. So $940 per laptop plus $750 per desktop computer has to be less than or equal to $15,000. So again, we had two rates. They said that laptops were $940, or it was $940 per laptop, or $750 per desktop. That keyword per, each, and every, those are your slope words or your rate words. So we knew that we had to use standard form. We annotated what the x was going to be and what the y was going to be, and then we wrote our equation. So $940 per laptop plus $700 per desktop computer can be no more than $15,000. Alright, great. Let's do this last problem, and then we'll do the in-class review next class. So example number 2 says the Trojan Marching Band is doing a chocolate bar fundraiser. The milk chocolate bars cost $2 and the dark chocolate bars cost $3. The band needs to fundraise at least $2,500 to purchase new uniforms. Write a model to help you determine how many chocolate bars need to be sold. So we have a lot of information here. We have milk chocolate bars cost $2. Dark chocolate bars cost $3. They need to fundraise at least $2,500. So think right now, are we going to be using a less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to symbol? Hopefully you thought greater than or equal to, because they can fundraise $2,500 or more. So we can fundraise more than $2,500. That would be great. Then they could maybe buy, I don't know, some new instruments or something. But they can't fundraise less than $2,500 because then they're not going to have enough money. So let's annotate our variables. So for X, we're going to say that's milk chocolate bars, or milk chocolate. And Y is going to be dark chocolate. So the milk chocolate bars are $2 each, so I'm going to have 2X plus the dark chocolate bars are $3 each, 3Y, has to be greater than or equal to $2,500. So that band, oh, that was scary. The band is going to need to sell a lot of chocolate bars to get this $2,500 because milk chocolate bars are only $2 each and dark chocolate bars are only $3 each. When you come to class, we will review creating equations and creating inequalities, but until then, make sure that you fully understand slope-intercept form and what those variables mean, and standard form and what those variables mean. I will see you soon. I hope you have a great rest of your day.